And so if we want to start, we'll get going. I know we have a number of guests online. So let's see. Um, da, da, da.
There she is. I just saw Edith.
Oh, perfect. We'll wait a minute for her to get on. Hi, Edith. Can you hear us?
Oh,
Hi, Edith.
made it finally. Mhm.
Very good. we were just gonna start.
Oh, good.
Let's see. Let's see. There's a privilege of a floor. If anyone is here for something other than something other than we have on our agenda already and would like to speak, we do have a privilege of the floor. All right. I'm going to assume everyone's here for an application we have on the agenda. We have a huge agenda tonight. Let's see. Can I get a motion to approve October's minutes
Yes, please.
and a second?
I'll second.
I'll second. Oh,
I'll
Justin
third- I'll
second.
third.
Okay.
I'll third.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect. Mike, did you have anything from the development office?
No, it seems to be, we slowed down quite a bit, so I don't think the future meetings are gonna be this heavy, but, no, everything, we're postponing the building, but we still have to stay on Zoom. I think they're gonna try another bid for the redesigning of the building, so that's it.
Sounds good. Let's see. Let me get back to my agenda. I really should start printing these out because I'm like bopping back and forth. Referrals from the town board. We do have one referral from the town board. It's on our agenda. It's a local law to reduce the minimum home size. We'll do that after the other referrals, so we don't make any of our guests wait for that. Ordinance committee, let's see, they talked about form-based code. The meeting was like was it this week? This week, and I can't remember what they talked about. Mike, do you remember?
The ordinance committee, no.
I'm sure I can. Let me look at the agenda. The code that we had passed forward about the bisected lots, that's still pending. Hopefully that will get talked about at the next month. We're basically waiting for Chris Nadler to write that up officially for the town, and then they'll talk about it. So they talked about floodplain ordinance. Mike Murphy the code enforcement officer had put out documents because there's FEMA maps being updated and all that stuff. And so there's a floodplain ordinance that's moving forward to the town board. The false fire alarm section of the code, that one's moving forward. Seems to be their unsafe buildings. I think there was a unsafe buildings they talked about. That one's moving forward. So the town board at their next meeting will set a public hearing for those three local laws. And we'll see them probably at our next meeting, we'll be able to talk about them and give any feedback that you want on those. And they are still talking about form-based code. Actually, they're talking about possibly forming a committee to talk about that. So that's pretty much where things are at ordinance. If anybody ever wants to attend any of them, they are pretty interesting at times. Let's see, and I think we're up to our referrals. So I may change. Oh, nuts. I didn't want to close that. Then back up. I may change around the order based upon whoever is here. So if we get to application where someone isn't here, we will. There we go. Do we have anybody for the Sandy Beach Drive?
Yes, I'm here, Anthony Venezia.
Okay. Anthony, did you want to give an introduction to that one? This is the deck. I think we have two Sandy Beach Drive
Well,
ones.
I'm here for the tear down rebuild.
Okay, that's not this one.
Okay.
Let me see, do we have anybody? I don't think we have anybody for this one, so we're gonna come back to that one. Do we have anybody for the Goodale Road one? Nope. The Wolf Angle Cooley Road? McAlpin on County Road 10? Goff Road? Wow, we're getting through these really fast.
Yeah.
We'll come back to them. Cooley Road, and this is the new house.
Mhm.
County Road 8. I
Yes,
believe
we're
we have
here.
someone here for that.
Yes, we're here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. Would you like to introduce the project, and did you want any particular documents brought up? Just the
I'm
sketch
here
plan?
with Jeff Skolnick from MB&C, and we are representing Verizon Wireless in their construction of a 120-foot wireless telecommunications facility. This plan is great. Thank you. If we could scroll down just to another page or so to the main. Yeah, here we go. So as you can see, it's located near 2041 County Road 8. It's actually been assigned an address by the County 911. We presented this to the project review committee. Again, we're proposing 120-foot wireless telecommunications pole here coming in with a driveway directly off County Road 8. And we were in consultation with Mr. Sensiting, the farmer who owns the field. This area of the field is what I would say lower elevation, less productive. And so of all the available sites, and we are all the available locations in the field, this was preferred because it's shall we say, a less productive area of the field. Again, there were some questions raised by the adjacent neighbors if we could relocate the tower. We've got some opportunities to discuss that, moving it a little bit. I would say northeast, a couple 100 feet, and then there's a possibility of moving it to the other side of the field. We want to discuss that with the planning board, but at the end of the day, the project will end up, regardless of where it is in the field, be of substantially the same nature in terms of a driveway to a tower compound. It's an 81 by 125 foot parcel and a 120-foot tower with typical wireless telecommunications antenna equipment constructed at the base of the tower. I don't know if the board has particular questions about the project, but it's again pretty relatively flat topo. Again, and the disturbance is minimal given the distance, just a single gravel driveway to the tower compound as described as you see.
So will farming continue around that area?
Yes.
Okay. That will be a question that the Ag Committee will also have, so
Mhm.
I thought I might as well ask it now.
Yep,
Yes, and it's good to use the least productive part of the field too. That's,
that was the plan.
yes, I can certainly approve that.
Yeah, did
Just to be
anybody,
fair, the neighbors that you see, the adjacent neighbors, in the homes
Mhm.
would much prefer that we put it to a more, in a more productive area of the field simply because they don't want it near their house. So there's those competing interests, just to be clear.
Of course.
But it does meet all required setbacks.
Yes. I see the tree line is buffering the houses too.
Justin or Patty, did you have any comments or questions?
yeah, I just had a quick one. I didn't have an opportunity to look at like the prime farmland stuff, but I'm guessing it doesn't overlap any of that. New York State Prime or I forgot the other designation basically, but I'm sure the Ag Committee will look at that as well.
I'm not aware that it does.
Okay.
Mhm.
And this is what's available, so we, not that I think we should be disturbing prime farmland, but this was the basically the only field, the farmer that responded to us and we could get a lease with, so it's gotta, from our view, it's gotta go somewhere in the field, and we chose with consulting with the landlord about placing it in the area that was, again, the least productive. He is willing to relocate it to another area, to be clear, he's made it clear he wants to try to satisfy the neighbors to the extent practical.
Right. No, I'm happy to hear he's trying to work with the neighbors. It's great.
I wanted to say it was helpful, the images that were shown of the proposed tower superimposed onto the photograph. There were a couple of balloon height distances.
Yes.
And then the placement of the tower was most helpful to get an idea from afar what it's going to look like.
Mhm.
You talking these, Patty?
Yeah, those,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was very helpful.
Mhm.
Something to be said for a picture.
There's a lot to be said for a picture.
Yes.
Yes.
Can't really hide the things, but there's.
No, but I mean, it looks,
It's not bad.
it's not bad. No.
No. Mm-mm.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah. I think everyone has become accustomed to the towers and being around,
Yes.
and everyone's very dependent upon their services.
Yes.
I totally agree, except those neighbors next door, they're not gonna.
Right.
Well, yes. Well, I was just thinking about how much prime farmland I've seen covered up with solar panels lately, and thinking it's really good to preserve the prime farmland where we can. I'm probably too interested in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but there is that aspect.
Actually, this is less disturbance and
Oh,
overall to the farmland than like a house in that location.
Oh,
would.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So-
It's far less, yeah.
It's pretty, again, if we were to relocate it to the other side of the field, again, as discussed, there would be more disturbance. Again, Verizon is indifferent as to where this thing goes, and I know the landlord wants to try to, again, appease, but these are the competing factors.
Well, good luck with that.
Mhm. Thank you.
Well, the environmental board had a comment, regarding that, it might be helpful.
Yes, well,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like the idea that it would have less disturbance and probably less impact to the farmer.
yes. And I did appreciate the line of trees as a buffer for the neighbors. I think that's a good plan.
Anyone else have any other comments? Well, thank you very much for attending. Did you have anything else that you'd like to share or ask us or?
No, we're here to answer your questions. So if you're good with us, then we'll be all set.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I
Alrighty. Let's see. I get so used to working on two screens when I'm in the office that doing this on just one screen challenges me a little. Anthony, you're up for the tear down and rebuild on 3518 Sandy Beach Drive. Did you want
Okay.
a site plan up?
Yeah, I could kind of just give you an overview of exactly what my client is proposing. So currently on the lot, this is split almost halfway on by the Sandy Beach Drive, and on the lakeside, they're wanting to remove an existing one-story cottage and then put up a new two-story cottage. The cottage, there's a frame garage on the roadside that's going to stay, and that's all going to kind of stay exactly the way it is. With the nature of this site and the size of the site, there are a couple of variances that we'll be requesting. One is a front setback from the right of way. And then also we have lot coverage and building coverage to deal with. The final is a height. Now the house has been designed to be under the 25, but with the elevation that is there now, we have to abide by being 2 feet above the flood level. And that kind of puts the house up higher than we want it. But it also, without us going and trying to regrade the site and bring the site up and displace floodwaters, we're requesting a variance for the height. We did attach a landscape plan that tries to save, we're going to attempt to save the 2 large maple trees along the lakefront. And then also we're going to add to it on the north and the south boundaries, some buffers, as well as some larger trees where we can.
I did see your landscape plan, and I did like the addition of the native species, and that you were going to try and preserve the maples.
Yeah, when they go and build it, we're gonna have an arborist there. It's probably gonna have to do some air spading and things of that nature in those along the root edges of those 2 big maples to try to do our best to save them. So there's gonna be some work to do, but I think we can hopefully keep them intact.
So I think the height variance, I think that goes against the scenic view shed overlay. And I think that's going to be a tough ask. So I don't know.
No, I understand. We didn't really want to do the variance, but like I said, the house is designed at a certain elevation, and because of the elevation of the site in general, we didn't want to mound dirt up and bring the whole site up and displace any kind of floodwaters any more than just keep it to a minimal. I did recently add a couple superimposed drone images this afternoon. We got those.
Okay. Is that in the site plan or the
It will be in the
variance?
site plan.
Site plan. Okay. I think
Yeah.
that's where I am. Site plan. Yep. Other way. Oh, there it is.
Drone views, yeah.
So there's 2 images in that one file, kind of like a digital rendering of what this house will look like in the area. So the design of the house is more of a slanted roof, a low pitched roof to keep the house as low as possible and still have usable 2 stories. But like I said, the driving factor of the height is the elevation that we have to get that first floor up to be 2 feet above the flood level
Okay.
without doing grading and, like I said, bringing the whole site up. almost 2 feet.
Mhm.
Did anyone have any comments?
Is the house gonna be on a slab or
It's gonna have a crawl space.
a crawl space? Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Justin or Edith, did you have any comments?
Mm, No, not really. Doesn't look like it's very much out of scale with the house to the north of it there.
Yeah, the house to the north was just, within the last couple of years was a huge gut remodel.
Uh-huh.
They pretty much took it down to the studs and rebuilt it, so
Mhm.
that was one way that they, that house is, the first floor of that house is almost a foot and a half lower than what we're projecting, just
Mhm.
because of the nature of where it was. They did as much as they possibly could without getting to that 50% remodel and having to bring the whole first floor up. So we are gonna be about 1.2 feet higher than they are our first floor.
Mhm.
So that kind of drives that height up, trying to, with the design at least.
Mhm. It looks as though the new place is more centered on the lot too.
Yeah, the other ones are kind of, pushed to the side so they can get
Yeah.
probably vehicles through, but yeah, we're centering on the side to get rid of that, and then also getting it away from that house to the north. I think their overhangs are less than a foot from the
Yeah.
pond. So it's
I
really,
was
really
great.
tight, and we're gonna kind of open that up a little bit.
It looks much more, uh, I like it much better than having it cheek by jowl there. That's really too. For fire safety, even it's having those houses that close would have been problematic, I'd think.
Right. It does give access around for, fire
Mhm.
purposes, so.
Yeah, give you a little more airspace and airflow too.
And we're also proposing some stormwater management on the north and the south to mitigate any kind of stormwater any increase in stormwater runoff that we have.
Yeah, I see that.
So is there any way you can reduce lot coverage on this?
Really, the only thing in there would be to redesign the house. There's no external patios or things of that nature. It's just, like I said, it's a small site. It's only 11,000 square foot site, and there's almost 1,000 square foot garage on the east side. So,
Mhm.
Well, have to ask. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I guess
this is one of the variances is increasing the lot coverage.
Mhm.
yeah, it seems to be the height variance seems to be relatively new for this area for what we usually see on the typical lots when they're redoing the properties. I guess for my question for the design on the height stuff, this is all factoring in just your standard sized ceiling heights at 8 foot, or is there, I mean, without getting too far into the weeds, I mean, or are they looking at like 9 foot ceilings? Just
I think
why they
it's probably
can't-
not. They definitely are doing a little bit higher of a ceiling. I don't know specifically in there, and that's one of the reasons for the flatter roof. So we
Right.
don't get into that cathedral type ceiling. So,
It
but
just
I
seems
can,
like
I
an
can
easy
double
way
check
to,
that.
without getting into their design, I know it's their design, their properties, whatever, but to reduce it so you're not relying on that variance, which is, generally in this area, minimizing any kind of variances, setting the precedent is always a continuing battle we see in this area.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, we understand that, and like I said, the driving factor is just because of the lot is because of us having to drive that first floor up so high.
mm,
I mean, if we could have the first floor a foot up from where grade is today, like we normally would, we wouldn't have a height issue. But
Right.
because we have to set that first floor at 2 feet above flood, it pushes us up just from the nature of the site. Like if we were on any other site, we wouldn't need the variance. But
Mhm.
because of the flood issue, it throws that first floor up.
And that includes the crawl space and everything, because that doesn't count towards it, correct?
The crawl space doesn't count, it's just the first floor.
Yeah,
Our main floor has to be above that, and utilities and things of that nature.
So is the covered terrace part of the lot coverage that you've got calculated?
Yes. Mhm.
And so is that part of the house or is that something that's like an optional piece?
I would say that's part of the house.
Okay.
Yeah, can
Just
you,
trying to look for some places that, if there was a way to minimize down the lot coverage, that does help when you go to the zoning board.
Right. No, I understand.
Do we have any profiles
There should be.
that were sent to us? Then you could see that
Do you mean the
covered porch
elevation?
thing.
Oh, I
Where
think
would they be?
I think we saw that on the drone picture.
Oh, okay.
I actually, one of
Oh, yeah.
the architect just texted me. He said he's outside the building and it's locked. I don't think he realized it was a Zoom meeting only.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
dear.
Whoops.
Actually, court should probably still be in session
Yeah,
down
he said it's
below,
locked.
but
He said it's locked.
Oh,
Um,
because usually we don't like to support lot variances, lot coverage variances. So that's why I'm asking if there's any ways that it could be reduced.
well, I mean, we could definitely look at trying to reduce some of the size of it, but they're trying, trying to get we do realize it's a smaller lot. We're not trying to go too crazy with the size on it. Just a usable year-round home.
Let's see, anybody else have anything? That would be my biggest suggestion, if there's any way to reduce the lot coverage or the height, because I think that one's going to be challenged hard for you.
Well, I think the designer is gonna jump on here shortly, just to
Okay,
go over it. Maybe we could just hold on for a second. He's gonna
Okay.
hop on here. I think he's
Yeah.
gonna try.
Kim, could you bring up the site plan showing the existing, I guess, structure if we have that with the overlap with the new real quick?
this
Sorry.
one?
Yeah, existing one story. Yes, yeah, okay, thank you.
mhm.
Yeah. I don't see him yet.
No, I'm just talking to him via text message, so.
I did like stormwater mitigation being added. I think it's critical for some of these really tight, narrow lake parcels, because the water's got no place to go, really.
Right.
Yeah, and the one thing that we're also doing along in the rear of the property to the east side, there is a lower area that does have a lot of standing water. And when I was doing the survey, there was a lot of mosquito buildup and things of that nature. So we're gonna try to get some of that water around those buildings. It doesn't get a chance to get to the lake where it needs to be. And it just kind of affects a couple of those properties in that area. We're just at low spots. So we're gonna try to move some of that water past and through. So it does not create a breeding ground.
Yeah. Well, if your homeowner is amenable, that would be a good place for a rain garden.
Mhm.
Something that actually has some appeal, some beauty, and it will deal with your low water area.
Yeah, I can definitely take a look at that and discuss that with them.
Yeah. I mean, that does take some care and maintenance, just like
Yeah.
every other stormwater thing. So
Yeah.
as
Mhm.
long as they're good
Yeah.
with that, I'd suggest that.
The designer just jumped on. His name is Raymond.
Okay.
Hey, good evening. Sorry, I'm late. I didn't know we were Zoom only tonight.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yes, we changed because there is construction planned in town hall, and so we moved to Zoom only to kind of help that out.
Well, I'm glad I am at least able to catch part of this.
So Raymond, just to catch up, we were kind of talking about the house design and heights and things of that nature, heights and lot coverage.
Yep.
And things that, you know, what got us to the point with the size of the house and the height of the house.
Gotcha. Okay. So you pretty much make your way through it.
They were just kind of wondering about like ceiling height and things of that nature to see what, you know, what the interior is going to look like and if there's a way for us to try to minimize any kind of variance necessary. That was what
Understood.
was coming up.
Well, as far as the interior ceiling heights, I mean, we're looking at a 10-foot ceiling height on the first floor and a 9-foot ceiling height on the second floor. And so, you know, we're not really being overly generous, I feel, with the ceiling heights. And the only reason that we're impeding on the maximum height requirement set by the zoning resolution is due to the fact that, you know, this house is within the floodplain and we need to raise it up by about 3.4 feet to get out of that floodplain. And so, you know, you all know it's a very small lot and we're trying to do as much as we can with the limited space that we have to work with, while being as respectful as possible of both the zoning resolution as well as just the character of the neighborhood. And that's really the reason why we're trying to minimize the roof profile as much as possible, in order to try to give us as much space on the interior as we can, without, well, we're already encroaching on the maximum height, but without having to exceed it by a large amount.
I was mentioning to Anthony, I think that one's going to be a hard ask, because that's part of the scenic view shed overlay. And they try and keep heights really, really under that, was it 25 foot, if I'm remembering correctly. So that might be a difficult ask. So I'm just saying.
Well, you know, a good majority of the area really either isn't within the floodplain or the existing structures that are there were built before the floodplain was an issue or, you know, a requirement to mitigate against. And so, you know, it is a little bit of an anomaly on this site that we have to deal with that. And, you know, it really does limit what you're able to do with the property as far as being able to make a 2-story structure and you know, get something that's really of use, based on you know, what the client wants to utilize the property for.
So that is something that you may want to think about going forward to the zoning board and the planning board.
Okay.
And we were also asking about lot coverage, if there was any way to minimize that or shrink that some. It's something we don't like to suggest approval of. There are lot coverage variances.
Well, we did already take a look at it and we cut some of the initially proposed lot coverage or building coverage out. We did reduce it by almost 400 square feet.
Correct.
So, you know, that did come down. I'm not sure if it's not reflected in the plan that you see on your screen. It still exceeds the lot coverage called out by the zoning, but it is reduced. And, you know, in order to meet it, we'd have to make some pretty significant changes to the design.
Yeah, this isn't targeting specifically your project. This is just, you know, the area, and generally this is the stuff that continually pops up. You know, obviously there is a lot of restraints on here as to what you can actually do given the areas. But it's also one of the few areas where you kind of have these existing parcels that are kind of very much over in a lot of cases what the allotted coverage is that doesn't really happen anywhere else in the town.
Mhm.
That's the only reason we bring this up, is just when these do end up going to the zoning board and for approval, there ends up generally being changes that needed to be made because, like Kim was pointing out, they're more or less hard or fast kind of numbers that they're focusing on when they're looking at the projects.
So we should mention to Raymond, environmentally speaking, the things we like about his plan. Right?
We did like the landscaping plan and the stormwater mitigation. We did suggest a possible rain garden in the back where there's a ponding water issue.
Mhm.
If the homeowners like that idea, it can be, rain gardens can be quite beautiful. They take maintenance just like every other stormwater mitigation technique, but it's something for them to consider.
I think that's something they would certainly be open to. You know, they don't have any plans for utilizing that portion of the lot behind the garage. And to be perfectly honest, I think that's probably one of the more attractive options
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
you know, mitigating an issue and also beautifying a little bit.
Yep.
Mhm. Yes. Yes, and we did find it pleasing that the house is more centered on the lot instead of
Mhm.
off to one side. That's
Yeah.
much better.
We did like the idea that the mature maples are, you're going to try and keep those. That I think will be an important factor with the planning board. They're very concerned about screening from the lakeside and having vegetation.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
maintaining those trees will be a key part of that.
Yeah, protecting them out to the drip line during construction is going to be essential if you're going to keep them alive. Wrapping the trunks doesn't do anything. If those roots go out as far as the drip line.
That's
So,
right. I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, so anything that we mentioned, like Justin was saying about the size of the lot, the height of the structure, we know what the zoning board tends to look at and tends to maybe not wish to work with. No, well, maybe they'll work with certain things, but it's just what we want to flag to you that might be a hindrance to some of the variances being requested. We just kind of a heads up of what you might expect from the actual zoning board.
And I
Right.
do appreciate that. You know, it's just it's a little bit of a challenge and a balance, right? You know,
Yeah.
our client wants a very specific use with the site. You know, their intention is to build a structure that they'll be able to use not only for themselves, but to use with their family as well. And so, you know, in order to get a kitchen and a living room and 3 bedrooms, it needs to be a 2-story structure. And, you know, to build it according to, you know, what you would expect a house to be built as far as standards of today, you know, it's a little bit of a challenge to work with that and also meet all of the requirements of the zoning resolution on such a tight site.
Right. I believe we get that. We get that.
We do know. Right?
Yeah.
We just have to advocate for trying to maintain those so there's good infiltration and you know things aren't just flowing right to the lake, and so we do have to ask for those too.
No, of course, and I know that our client is willing to do whatever they have to do from a, you know, stormwater mitigation standpoint, planting, preservation, whatever would need to be done in order to be able to utilize the site in the way that they're hoping.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else have any comments? Well, thank you very much.
We appreciate you
you.
both coming.
Mhm.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yes.
I did like the drone picture.
Yeah, that's helpful, isn't it?
Isn't that great? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. There were two of them. I'm not sure if you saw both of them.
Yeah, I uploaded both to it. It was in the same file.
Oh, yeah, we did. We scrolled
Yep.
Yep.
through it.
Very
Okay.
neat. Very helpful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
just to help contextualize it a little bit, so you can see, even though we are over, at least from a height person, a height standpoint, we are trying to be as respectful as possible of that, trying to minimize the impact.
I know from discussions at the planning board, I think that although you go to the zoning board as well, the variance is from them, but I know that's been a challenge for the planning board to
Mm.
see things be too high, so.
Understood.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Right.
Let's see. Is that the last of our guests? That was the last of our guests, so I think we
Yeah.
can go back up to the top. Sandy Beach. This is the other Sandy Beach.
Yeah. This is like a deck, right?
This is a deck.
Yeah.
Did anyone get a chance to look at this one? Mike, did you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I've been working with this gentleman since I think it was April, and he wants to put a deck on the back of his house. So if he attaches it, it's going to need certain variances. If he has it freestanding, it's going to need certain variances. And now he has changed the size, so now he
Oh, no.
needs a lot coverage variance. So
Oh,
for this tiny little deck, and I told him it has to comply with scenic view shed overlay, and so I think he's a very nice guy, and I just don't think he understands the extent of what he's doing for where he lives. So
Yeah.
he's got a variance going to the lake, to the side, which is an existing nonconformity. If he attaches it to the house, he doesn't need it. But if he makes it separate from the house, he needs that variance. So there's a lot going on. It's a very simple thing. He's not going to do much disturbance. He's doing the work himself. He's just got to drill holes for the footers. Other than that, it's just he's up against a lot for for that little bit of deck. So
Yeah.
don't decks isn't that automatically attached to the house if it's a deck?
no, you don't have to. If you don't attach it to the house, you don't have to go as deep with the footings, because
Oh.
you can go 24 inches instead of 48.
Oh,
And
I see.
so he was, if he does it as an accessory structure, then he needs
Then he
the
needs a
accessory
variance.
structure variance, the side setback variance, the variance to the lake. So there's a
Hmm.
lot
Yeah, there-
involved with that little deck.
There was quite a laundry list of things he needed.
Yes. And then the last minute, he changed the size
Oh.
to 12 by 27. So now that gives him lot coverage issues. I was like, okay.
Oh, boy.
So it's,
If I were him,
How
I'd
big-
just attach it to the house, I think.
Yeah.
Would make
So
my
how-
life easier.
how big is it, Mike?
Now I think it's 324 square feet, 12 by 27.
Did he give us a new sketch? Was that a new sketch we saw?
He just
Was it-
made that spot a little
Oh,
bigger.
there it is, yeah.
27 by 12 still?
Yes, yeah.
2 by 10.
And
Hmm.
this counts as an impervious surface, correct?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he's not doing any sort of stormwater or any sort of runoff mitigation?
He's planting a tree.
I also saw he had noted that they were just going to put window, like flower boxes. And that's not what the planning board asks everyone else to do.
Yeah, that was just to make it look pretty from the lake.
The planning board actually asks people to plant trees and shrubs.
Yeah, he's got one there that he's keeping, and he's planting another one, so.
So I'm gonna say
In lieu of a professional plan,
Yes.
Oh, boy.
you know,
He said, I'm doing the work myself, I should be able to draw it myself. I said, all right, write a
there you
waiver,
go.
but he, I mean, I feel for him. I know he just wants to put a
Mhm.
deck on his house so he can enjoy the lake, but where he lives is not that simple. And I try telling him that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say he should do a landscaping plan with more trees and shrubs to do more of a screen view.
Yeah,
Oh, to screen the deck, yeah.
Yep,
Oh, yes.
yep.
Because how high is the deck gonna be? Like how much, like when you're looking from the lake at the deck,
think
you're
it's-
gonna see under the deck,
yeah, I think
right?
he said it's gonna be like 2 feet off the ground and
Oh, just 2 feet?
yeah, I don't think it's that high and, but it's 20 feet from the lake, so you can.
But
Uh-huh.
there's, yeah,
Like
there's
right there.
nothing really in between the house and the lake, so.
Right.
So like shrubberies or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of very nice shrubs, native shrubs and small trees. And it's not going to like, you know,
It won't get in his way for
it
view.
won't get in his
No.
way. They'll still be able to see the lake, but
Right.
you know,
Yeah, that's a good
he really
suggestion.
needs to think about a landscaping plan and have that before he goes to the planning board.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
If he gets through the zoning board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would personally say, since this is a self-made hardship, he should really change the size of his deck and try and meet
Yeah,
code.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, and keep making it bigger is not helping.
No.
I didn't read the zoning test questions. Did he do a pretty good job on those?
You know.
Did he
I
write a
gotta look-
letter?
Yeah, let's see what he says, because.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that.
Test. Wow, no.
No, no, no.
A lot of people don't know how to write those though. To-
Exactly,
to
yeah.
his, to his credit or whatever,
Right.
not everyone knows how to answer those.
And his neighbors aren't against it either,
Yeah.
but again, he's up against a lot of town code, so.
Especially the scenic view shed overlay,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is newer and quite strong, so.
Yes,
Mhm.
Does he have to do a shoreline guidelines
he
for
did
this
that
deck?
too. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
It's in there?
Yeah, I saw that today. Let me see.
But I don't think he understands exactly, because I said you have to read it and agree to it, and that's basically what he wrote. I read it and I agreed to it.
Aw.
And I've been trying to help him. I really have. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
This is
sincere
it.
about this, so.
Maybe,
Mm.
maybe. Did I get the right one? Nope.
no,
It's, oh,
Oh,
wait,
there it is. I got it. This is what he wrote.
yeah.
here we go.
Exposed concrete block.
Currently doesn't look great from.
Large flower boxes. I love it.
I will have 2 large extra boxes to the north. They will include. Well,
Well,
he took a
He's
stab at
trying.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I mean,
trying.
Yeah.
at least it's nicely typed out and
Uh-huh.
it's not like scratched, a handwritten letter or something.
But
People just don't-
definitely,
People just don't understand, you
yeah,
know.
Uh,
he's gonna need more because the planning board will ask for more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
mhm.
I try and point things out like that to people if I know about it because, well,
Helps
Yep.
them be prepared and saves the
Yeah.
planning board time too, if they are
yeah.
a little more prepared.
Especially if they're trying to do it themselves too, so that's not an easy thing either.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't have to be, like they don't need like Bracolo or somebody to come in and do this for them. But I think they do need to put some thought into, how it
Yeah.
would look from the lake
Mhm.
and,
Well, some shrubs and things would also help hold the shoreline and
Correct.
prevent erosion from the lake and from the water coming down the hill and that sort of thing. It's good protection for their property.
and they can have
Yeah.
some small trees like red buds and things
Sure.
like that that
Yeah.
will add a little shade and,
Red
Yeah.
bed, dogwood, yep, they would be, I think they'd be happy with it.
I do too. So,
Mhm.
I would personally say the zoning board should deny his variances. Cause
You mean as presented or until he can
Till they can,
beef them up a little bit
as presented, because
as presented now?
he could make a smaller deck that stays within code.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
This isn't even like a house or, like the
No, it's
last
just
one,
a-
they're trying to like put 3 bedrooms in and a kitchen or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is just a deck.
Or he could consider it attaching it to the house.
yes.
I mean, I know he's got to dig deeper with posts or whatever, but I think it would save him a lot of other things.
Mhm.
So,
But I'm not a builder. What do I know?
and since this is impervious, I would also say some sort of stormwater mitigation.
Runoff needs to be taken into consideration if they're
Yeah.
increasing the impervious surface, yeah.
So
French
Mike, you'll have
drain,
to
dry
suggest
well.
something to him because you may
Yeah.
not know what that means,
Well, yes, that's,
like some examples from,
mhm. Well, there's all kinds of things, for everything from French drains to,
yeah.
depends upon what his house already has for stormwater management. If it's
It's
gutter,
an
if
older,
it's not, whatever.
I went to Encore and just snapped a picture from the parcel report.
Mm-hmm.
And it's among houses similar to his size in his immediate neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else I could say besides that.
Yeah. So he will need to do something. And I
The
mean,
neighbor next door has some sort of a deck on his.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think,
I'm not against him having a deck. I
Well,
think
no.
it
no,
just needs to be better sized, and
yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
he needs to deal with the runoff from it
Yeah,
Yeah.
and landscape,
Mm-hmm.
native
Yeah.
landscaping.
Concrete break wall, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, he's got room to plant some things there.
he does.
Mhm. And the shrubs won't get in his way for view. And they really would, help his lot, I think.
I think it would add a lot of beauty because it's really barren looking
Mhm.
when you look at it on Encore. So,
Yeah, it'll show the zoning board that you're actually making an attempt to improve the appearance as well as
Yeah, I've had those
getting
discussions
that
with
deck
him.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've messaged him and I've tried to guide him as much as I can. I just, and plus he has health issues, so I think that has a lot to do with him not getting back to me in quick enough time.
Uh-huh.
I
So,
see.
yeah,
Well, good on you for helping him out.
I'm trying, I
Yeah.
really am.
He may just need a little more time to put it together,
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
A little more thought about it, yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah, I if you want to take our comments back to him, I don't
Yep.
know if that helps give you some.
Talking space, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to him again.
Okay.
So yeah, I think his deck is totally doable. I think he just needs to add a little bit more of what the town's looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, any other comments? Alrighty.
Okay.
Let's see, Goodale Road. Mike, do you know anything about this one?
Let's see.
It's a subdivision.
Oh, wait, yes, actually, I just talked with them about this today. They were going to do a 3-lot subdivision. They changed it to 2.
Mhm.
because they don't want to get the third perk test, so they,
There you go.
they're like, hey, let's make it easy. We don't want to do all that. Yeah, I talked to, I messaged Ken today. Yeah, it's just simple subdivision. It's over in the, oh, where is this? I think this
Next to Pierce Park
RR3 or is
in
it
Cheshire, yeah.
30?
Mhm.
Yeah, so. Yeah, there's not much with this one. I don't think anything is significant about the property, like any kind of natural resource.
It did say there was, I believe that there was current agriculture on this.
Let's see.
Mhm.
This is Ken Naples' place.
In Naples,
Yes,
Yes,
mhm.
yes.
Yeah,
There
so
is a creek that runs down
Oh,
through
you're
there.
right. Yes, there is. Okay.
yeah, and it feeds into that. Well, it
Mhm.
wasn't ash.
Yeah, it
Low
goes down. Yeah, it
ash
goes
swamp.
down. Yep.
Wasn't
Goes right over
there
to
a
that pond.
different, there was more of a involved topo showing? I thought I saw a more
Oh, in their
involved
space?
plan. Oh. Maybe did you open subdivision plat? Maybe did we look at that one?
I think that's the one I
There was
opened.
one that sort of had an underlay of topography.
That's
No,
the other
that's the
one.
one they changed their mind. They didn't want to
Yep.
do 3 lots.
Right.
Maybe it's a different one I was looking at.
Let's see.
Let's try
Is
that one.
Mott, is the Mott the surveyor on this one?
Yes.
No, I could have sworn I saw something with, it almost looked like the topography plan from like the old USGS maps. That
Hmm.
we used to get those online.
This
There
one?
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the plan to put a house on one of these, Mike?
Not yet. They were talking about just dividing it. I think one of the people who was buying the lot wanted to farm it.
Okay.
But yeah, they didn't discuss a house yet.
Because it's currently being farmed.
Right.
I'm happy with it still being farmed.
Yeah.
Because they have the tie to that stream, looks like, see, in the
Yeah,
kind of in the northwestish area
down in
there.
here.
They show the stream and then there's like a tie
Mhm.
to it. Just underneath Goodale Road, just below that, there's like a distance there. Yeah, right where your little. Isn't that what that is? Like, is that like feet from the stream?
Here,
Is that
here
what
it
that
is.
is?
That's a stream buffer.
Yeah,
Says that-
buffer, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, it runs along that northern property over to Pierce.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy with it staying as is as opposed to housing going in.
Mhm.
Though subdivisions always put property at danger of being developed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to add that as a comment whenever we review a subdivision.
Mhm.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
So, any other comments?
Mm-mm.
What is the acreage of that lot that's going to be farmed?
A 20.8.
Okay.
That's a good sized lot for our town.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had to
It is.
clarify that.
Yes, I know. I always have to think of it in New York terms, not Kansas.
oh, that's
terms.
right, not Kansas terms.
Just gotta add a couple zeros behind it for Kansas.
Well, yes. I gave my kids an 80, which is a really small piece, you know. But 80 acres here is
That's a lot of
lot
land
more
here.
than it is here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Out there, yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I just was curious, what is the acreage on the other
10.
10? Okay.
All good?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. Just trying to keep us moving along. It's a big one.
Yeah.
So this is a amended site plan.
Mike?
Yes.
Mike, did you have info on this one?
Yeah, let me pull up my ZLD on this. Let's see. Okay.
I will say, it says landscaping, but I wasn't clear from their plan what landscaping they were talking about, so.
Yeah, they are, they're adding a carport, a 20 by 30 carport, extending the patio, adding a spa to the patio, a generator and an alarm panel enclosure, and expanding the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
So everything still falls within code and it's all within setbacks, including, lot coverage, but what they wanted originally, they just changed.
Mm-hmm.
This is that really interesting Star Wars looking house.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I see they put berms in.
Mhm.
Yep.
Is
Mm.
that what they mean by landscaping? Because
I-
there was
Yeah, I
nothing
think that's
that,
what they're just doing. That's it.
yeah. There was no landscape plan and it wasn't like
No.
anything really to review for that.
Mhm.
Now, where are they sending like the runoff from things like their new proposed spa and patio and all of that? Are they sending it someplace? I know there's some steep
Yeah,
areas.
they're on steep areas, so I think it's gonna be, I did look at this with them. Let's see.
Well, it's not only runoff, it's drainage.
Right.
And then there's a wetland back here, a federal wetland.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yep. So I don't know if they're planning on keeping any kind of barrier between that and the wetland. Let's see what no. I thought I discussed, oh wait, it looks like they have a drainage ditch going underneath, but then it just stops. It goes underneath the house and underneath the walkway.
Yes, and then it is what, surface spread or underground spread?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because, yeah, the leach field is right there too.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
Well, if they have a spa, they need to have some plan for when they change the water in it.
Right.
Because that's a lot of water and there are chemicals in it, usually
Mhm.
chlorine. You don't want that going into your leach field. Is the main process for water going into a leach field is bacterial, of course.
Yep.
And slug loading of chlorine water is going to wipe out their bacteria. So that needs some sort of separate disposal area. It will also kill the grass if they drain it
yeah.
over the ground.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, chlorine,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they need to have something, a dry well or
Put
something.
in a little dry creek bed, stone creek bed,
Mhm.
Well,
a little thing.
that's what they've got going under their walkway and stuff,
Ah.
but then it
Mhm.
stops.
Yeah, it just stops.
And
Stops,
so,
yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like their proposed spa and patio is all on the other end of it, so it's like, well, that doesn't help.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we need to
So-
suggest that.
they need to know where that's
Yeah.
going, and they need to think about where it's going to go
Yeah,
safely.
And I would it will be the second time tonight, but they might actually, given they're going for a particular aesthetic in the place, they could probably work on putting a rain garden in someplace and
There
they
would
might
be a
actually
nice-
like it.
yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
there are many opportunities for one in that.
yeah, because that's a
Lot.
nice size lot, yeah.
it's a
Mhm.
nice sized lot. It's got, slopes and different things, so they could put, a swale in that has some, rainwater plants and things like that in. And
Mhm.
it might keep some of the runoff from not going back to the wetland as well. So,
Mhm.
but they seem like somebody who might actually like that and take care of it. So that it was one of the ideas. I don't like to suggest that for everybody because I don't think everybody will take care of such
Takes a little
things.
follow through, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But other than that, I didn't have too many comments other than where's their water going?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, it's not, it's, as I say, it's not just the runoff water, it's going to be
Yeah.
what happens to the spa water.
We'll pass that forward and
mhm.
hopefully. I mean, it's another thing I thought of is they're up on top of a hill. The winds are pretty brutal up there. I don't know if this is going to be a year-round location for them, but they may want to add some shrubbery borders, especially on the west edge to try and not get all that wind in their face.
Mhm.
Yes, and they ought to think about snow on the driveway
Yeah.
if it ever snows here again.
Yeah,
Now,
even
because you
so, it's
said
still
that, we're gonna be getting blizzards again.
You think I jinxed us, huh?
You very well may have. We'll have to write that that was said on this day.
That's good. We can use our ski passes then.
Well, yes.
But- yeah, just an idea from
Yeah.
having driven that road for 20 years.
Yes, it is a stinker.
It is a stinker, and there are some places where it whites out and blows
Oh, yeah.
over.
Oh, yes.
And so if you know,
Mhm,
Good
mhm.
suggestion.
put
Good
in like,
suggestion.
you get some like gray dogwood or something like that. They make a very um thick hedge. They're pretty. Birds like them, butterflies like them, so there's
Mhm.
definitely appeal for them,
Mhm. And windbreak would be a big help.
and it would be a
Mhm.
great windbreak. Yeah. So, anything else? All righty. Move along. I want to be done before 7, so I'm keeping this one moving. I didn't get a chance to look at this one a lot. I just kind of I was running out of time. This is Mike, do you know about this one?
Let's see.
County Road 10?
Oh, yeah, okay, so, this is, Patrick McAlpin, I think is his
Yeah.
name. He, already has storage there. He wants to add more storage. It all fits in just right with, everything in that's the CC, district. So,
And
yeah,
what are
he's,
the chances you can get this on Encore so we could see the whole site?
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
no, he already has that. Never mind. It's there. That works. That just shows what he's got.
yeah, he's got a bunch of storage there now.
Yeah, he does.
Mhm.
And so he's clearing this area to put the storage in, correct?
Yes, he's got the wetland over to the
Yeah.
west, but he's still he's well within of the buffer.
I did see that they were going to put in a bioretention or biofilter or whatever.
I noticed that too, but I didn't see where it's going.
I had to go to this. It's actually this really thin strip along the edge.
Oh, that's what it is.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
But they
I would say that's good to have considering what they want to store there and all the stuff that might come off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to do RVs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
RVs, boats.
So stuff with oil and
Yup.
gas and stuff.
Possibly
think- I think it's
sewage.
gonna be,
Possible leaking, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have gravel beds underneath the so yeah, he's gotta have something that's gonna divert that away.
Yeah,
The outlet's right there.
okay.
That's good. Okay.
I mean, it looks really tiny on the plans. It's like, I think it's only like 5 feet. I don't know if that's a good size or not, but But at least they did put one in.
Yeah,
Say 1 foot wide.
What's that?
Pre-treatment, stone diaphragm. So it's the whole green area, right? Yeah, the 5 foot. Okay. Sorry, I was just talking out loud.
Nope,
no,
nope.
I see what you're
it's all good.
saying. Yeah,
Lead pipe there, yeah.
stone diaphragm.
Mhm,
Well, it's a good idea to have that.
mhm.
I like that idea. They gave a detail and there was like a plant list down here.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah, the plant, there you go, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
well thought out.
Mhm.
yep,
Yep, looks good to me.
I like
Switchgrass.
that because
Yeah.
Harvest it.
what's it?
I saw switchgrass on there.
Is that one you like or don't like?
Good and tall, grows fast, right?
Mhm.
So, I don't have a lot of comment on it. I like the idea of that, they've got something between them and the outlet.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Right, it looks very well
It does.
thought out, yeah.
Good job, Bill Grove.
Yes.
Do we have any other comments for them?
No?
Nope.
None from me.
Mm,
Excellent. We'll
Thanks,
mo-
yeah.
We'll move along. I have Goff Road. I think that's the one. Do you know anything about this one, Mike?
Let's see. Goff Road.
Gary did
wrote something on this one, didn't he?
he did. I'll bring up the,
I have a couple chime-ins, actually.
okay.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, that does look familiar.
I can find where I wrote them down.
I can read Gary's
Oh,
if
yeah, wait, let me see.
if people didn't see that one. Or I could just bring it up. This is
Let's see. Here we go.
Drainage plans for the, we need to look at that note. Drainage plans for the property need clarification.
Okay.
So maybe I could, you want me to I could chime in now.
yeah,
Because-
feel-
Yeah.
Because Mike will have to agree with me or not agree with me.
Go ahead.
So in the Canandaigua Lake watershed,
Right,
if you have a disturbance of 20,000 feet or more, you have to do stormwater management.
that's right.
Mhm.
So this plan has 19,900.
Mm-hmm,
However,
yes.
it doesn't include the digging for the underground electric, which would be disturbance. Did not see a stockpile for soil unless they're gonna truck it off site.
Let's
I
see.
think there's some other things going on with this one.
Yeah, underground, yeah, limit of disturbance, yep.
But I don't know. I'm
So
trying to
you're
pay closer attention to things.
so you're saying they probably do cross over the disturbance threshold?
Well, when you're gonna be digging to lay in the underground utilities, you're gonna disturb,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And that's not within, I don't think it's mentioned within that 19,900. I mean, trying to keep within 100 square feet when you're building and digging and all that. And it's probably difficult to do, but I'm not an excavator.
let's see what Mike Murphy had to say about that, because he probably,
I know, yeah,
oh, here we go. The wellhead.
and silt fence too, I think was
Yeah.
silt fence on there?
I
Yeah,
didn't,
there is a silt fence. Yep, yeah, it's down under, it goes underneath the leach field and on the south side of the house.
Okay, so the map you just had, I could tell you what that is.
Oh, the one I just had?
Yeah,
let me get back.
but maybe we should hear what Mike Murphy had to say before.
He
Pat
didn't have a
Venezia
lot of
says
notes on
anything.
here, actually. He had,
That's
Uh,
what I was trying to open.
yeah, on the third page, he just says location of the wellhead on the southern lot will require the septic to be relocated to provide necessary buffer. And please provide the drive distance of the driveway, and applicant will have to provide a potability test result for the well. That's it. That's all he
There's
spoke
more-
about. So
I
he's
mean,
not
there's more
even,
to it than that still.
yeah, and
Like,
that's,
There's
yes,
still,
you
there's
bring
some
up a good point.
discussions with there's some discussions with the neighbor. I mean,
Yes,
I'm-
the neighbor did come in to talk to us about this too. He's concerned about runoff onto his property.
because Venezia was asked to do some surveying for the neighbor and give them an idea using the initial plan that was submitted and where the first septic was intended to be placed and proximity to the neighbor's well. That
Ooh,
one map from us, from our company, Kim, that's in there.
Oh, there's another one? Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
You see it before I do. Let me
I
know.
just don't know I just don't know how much I understand to comment. It be more of a mic thing. Where is it? VL, that one,
This one?
down one. See
This
where it
one.
says map VLS, click that, please. So that's the neighbor's house
Mm-hmm.
with the pine trees around it.
mhm,
And there's certain things that are located.
mhm.
And then north of them is where the new house is intended to be built.
In the
And I
late,
think number one, the initial thing they were concerned about was where the leach field was going in
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and their well.
yeah, it would be up gradient quite a
But
bit.
there's a
from the
couple
well.
of things that have been discussed past that,
Mhm.
which I know Mike Murphy knows because he's been working on this.
Mhm.
But my comments were the stormwater management and the crossing the 20,000 square foot or possibly over limit, but 19.9 isn't 20,000, so.
So you think that they didn't include some of
No,
the
I
other
just,
things?
it doesn't look like they
Okay.
did, but maybe it's there.
Well, I put those sort of things in our comments if people.
Yeah, just the comment would be about the disturbance for digging to put in the underground
Utilities.
electric, with that would be disturbance.
Utilities, yeah.
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 And did not notice a stockpile area. Usually we have to say where the soil
Yeah.
is going to be
Mhm,
stored,
Yep.
unless maybe they're trucking it off site possibly.
But then that should be noted on their plan.
That should be noted if it
someplace.
is, yeah.
Usually it is. Maybe it's in a note somewhere though, possibly,
Mhm.
that I
You know
didn't
what?
catch.
If it isn't obvious, I have no problems putting it in our recommendations or comments.
Yes.
Somebody
Mhm.
else can like dig into it. There's an
Mhm.
awful lot of times at planning board, they'll make comments and people be like, oh yeah, that's not on the plans.
Well,
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I don't have any problems putting.
I
putting
know, but
something in.
us being who we are, stormwater management's really important.
It
Yeah.
is.
And that leach field really is poised up above the neighbor's well. That's
Yeah,
iffy.
but I think they're in the process of altering that.
Although if you want to make a comment on it, I mean.
Well, I don't want to say too much because it maybe should, I think the comment from myself would be the disturbance, the square
the
footage
disturbance.
and the soil pile and, you know, it's a code thing. I
But-
would say.
Edith can say.
Well, the,
Or just Jen.
yeah,
the
I
general
can say,
ECB
you know, it
comment
is,
you know.
it is of concern that the septic system is planned up gradient and close to the property line, as a matter of fact. But up gradient from the neighbor's well.
So I will include that. I think it's something we talked about, and I think it's an important thing to
Yeah,
mention. So
it is. It is. Groundwater and water in the septic system does not sit still, you know, it
Yeah.
flows too.
What is what is the distance between septic? Well, that's for own house, right? Is it 100 feet?
Yeah,
From-
it's,
from well
it's
to-
the distance to their own house is fine. I don't know if, I didn't see any notation of where their well is planned for.
Well,
Is that
that
the-
would be
did
on the
that-
site,
Did you
on
see
their
it?
site plan, so.
Yeah, it ought to be there. I
Here.
didn't tickle, yeah, okay. But see,
And
that's up gradient from their septic tank, from their septic
Oh, no, so
absorption
that
field.
says new well location, so they're
Yeah.
doing that.
I'd be
Okay.
concerned with that and the neighbor to the that's upgrading from.
Yes, but but their leach field is up gradient to their neighbor's well.
Yeah, the neighbor on the other side though, right? Isn't there one?
Mhm. Neighbors
Yeah.
to the south of them, yeah. So, that would be, something to watch very carefully, particularly how the drainage goes through the soils. I'm sure they've got a perk test, but that in general just tells how quickly the water soaks through the soil. But the
Yeah,
thing is, it doesn't stop soaking. It's going to be headed downhill after, and yes, some of it's cleaned up, but
Yeah, I mean, I think their well location for the neighbors. I think the map you drew up showed it like 300 or 200 foot drilled depth,
mhm.
300 feet.
But it depends upon the soils too, so.
Yeah,
you
and then
know.
how fractured, you know, if they're on the
Mhm.
rock, stuff like that.
There's some significant grade change there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Without getting into the groundwater contouring and stuff, I don't.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it's just something to be aware
Right.
of and try to be concerned about, you know. I would be concerned if that was up above my well.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, fingers crossed. Maybe that drainage swell will help out.
Well, you know, septic systems take out bacteria. They don't take out things like medications. You know, that rides with the water.
Yeah,
And if you have someone who's got chemo or taking birth control pills or whatever, you know, that's going to ride with water.
So Gary's comments were about the drainage needing
yeah,
to be
the drainage,
clarified.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, he even mentions the swale, like, it's like the house is, it looks like the house is being placed over.
Right
He
by
says,
it.
shows the swale running. There must be like a swale to the land where the house is going over that area, but maybe it's just a little ditch or
This-
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
this is the picture Gary had, and it
Yeah.
was titled
Mhm.
swale.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
it on Google Earth or Encore.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
I
not
think when you look
hugely deep.
at the picture on Encore, you could see that greenish where the swale is on that property, how it runs. It's like deeper green.
Okay. So, I will include the comments Pat made and Edith made. I will include Gary's about the drainage plans and swale and native landscaping. He asked that the ECB review a landscaping plan.
Mhm.
So. Anyone have anything else?
I'm all set.
Me too.
Okay. Let's see. Moving along. Cooley Road, I did this one. So it's a mature shrubland.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I have some to match it. And
Mhm.
when I walked to it, the ditch had water in it and was marshy, and it's been dry here. So I think they're always going to have some water running around there. I had pictures
Mhm.
and my recommendations were pretty much to remove the invasive stuff like the buckthorn and the honeysuckle and
Oh, my favorite stuff, yeah.
all your,
Yeah.
I even found Calipari pear there.
Yeah.
So, yep, all the good stuff. There's probably multiflora rose there, but I didn't go in.
No doubt.
So I would say remove that stuff and try and keep some of there was a lot of nice dogwood there.
Mhm.
So
There's a stream there, right?
there is a stream, there's a blue line stream.
Yeah.
And they just this afternoon put up a different plan. I didn't review that one. I just saw that they had put one up. But one of my comments was to move the driveway at least 100 feet away from the stream
The stream, yeah.
Yeah.
and to leave the natural buffer there. So don't turn it into lawn. Try and leave
Mhm.
it natural vegetation there.
Mhm.
So their new plan moved the driveway some. I don't know how much it moved because like I said, I didn't look at it. See, the driveway
Yeah.
before was like way over here. Now they've moved it this way some.
But, yeah.
Yeah. They're clearing the stream.
Yeah.
What their 100 feet is that what it is? About 100 feet?
I believe it's 100 feet.
Yeah.
I think that's what it
Mhm.
says. So,
Yeah, that's better.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I would definitely encourage them to leave this natural in here and not turn it into lawn.
Yes, green desert.
Yeah, essentially.
Mhm.
But I saw, deer tracks and
Mhm.
I know from where I live, I can hear peepers in this general direction. So I suspect they have amphibians that live in the stream area.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Birds and butterflies and all sorts of small life live there. So whatever they can leave, think that would be great.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
fact, they've already got dogwoods there. They can use that as some of their landscaping. They're locally adapted, so they're perfect for the location.
Mhm.
And I suggested, besides limiting the areas that they take out for lawn, to try and retain as much natural area as possible. Retaining the natural areas behind them will help provide windbreak because it's just ag fields behind
Yeah.
that to the west. And so they will be cutting down all that wind. I talked about wind a lot today, but
Yeah, it's
Yes,
been a
but
windy
that is
meeting.
that is a very strong characteristic of that area.
it is.
Yeah.
There's
It
folks,
is.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
pretty standard mature shrubland. There's some
Mhm.
trees, like there's a few dead ash and there's hawthorn and some stuff like that,
Mhm.
but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think if they work with it, I think they'll really love it because it will
Mhm.
have a lot of wildlife and
Mhm.
character for them. So,
And they won't spend half their lives mowing the lawn every weekend.
yep, there's a lot of people that do that already.
I know. Rather
So,
unrewarding activity.
I don't know if anybody else has any comments on that one.
Looks to me like you covered it nicely.
So,
Mhm.
native landscaping, but like I said, they can use some of what's already there.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
fine. And I suggested that they have like maybe like the dogwoods that are there, leaving a
Mhm.
buffer. Cooley Road is very busy,
Oh, yeah.
especially in the summer.
Mhm.
And they will probably like that privacy and sound barrier. All right,
Okay.
Good.
move along on that. County Road 8, we talked about. We talked about Sandy Beach. Woohoo! Getting down there.
Yeah.
This is the local law. They basically want to reduce the minimum size of houses
Mhm.
from 1,100 square feet to 720 square feet. So, and then the town board will be reviewing it. So whatever comments we have on it, I'll pass those along to the town board.
This in an attempt to make it easier to build tiny homes?
Tiny homes are smaller than the 720 square foot. I believe a single wide is 720 square foot,
Oh, okay.
which is why Sarah suggested that they use that number.
Right.
Mhm.
Sarah wanted to pass along also not having any minimum square footage.
Oh.
I'm not opposed to no
Hmm.
minimum square footage. I mean, if somebody wants to build a tiny home, I have no problems with it.
No, neither do I. I think it saved the land.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel the same. I feel the same way about that.
For no minimum.
No, well, somebody could come in and put a nice little, maybe even a little subdivision with smaller homes, kind of like Common Place in the city of Canandaigua with those little ranch homes, or something like that would probably serve this time in our at this time in our town well. It's very costly to build,
Mhm.
and people would like to get in a house that they can swing.
Mhm.
And maybe not want to necessarily be in a manufactured home. Maybe
Yeah.
it would allow for that.
Mhm. I think the demographic for the whole area is going toward older people
Yeah.
with smaller
Yes.
families. And
Yeah.
so, that would fit with smaller houses. Nobody wants to have a riding vacuum cleaner, need it to be
Yeah.
80.
And there would be,
Uh,
less lot coverage, less building coverage. They'd
Yeah.
be more efficient to heat and cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
this doesn't coincide with any changes to, I guess, the minimum lot size. Basically
No
what's there is
changes.
there, so
No.
No
you're
changes
sorry.
to those, no.
No. No.
But this would allow somebody to put actually a smaller home down by the lake if they wanted.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Although that's not the way they go, but
That's not the way they're doing it, no.
They remove those.
Yes. Tear
well,
down 3, build 1, yes.
That's right.
and I know costs of homes are by the square foot, so if
Yeah.
you have a smaller home, it could be more affordable. I'm not saying that it absolutely would be, but it could be.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
I don't see a negative of it, so.
No, I
No.
mean, you might induce some of the eco builders that come in, like you were saying, basically.
Yeah.
It could be, you know, a good development for the area.
So
Yep.
I actually support no minimum. Does
Yeah.
anybody else support that?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
I would be fine with that. Mhm.
Yeah, is there anything that they need to be compliant? I guess that'll boil down to someone else, but for state stuff and, you know, how small you can actually build the house so that it's
There
code
there are
compliant.
there are
Yeah.
requirements for living space that would be in the state general code.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
someone can't just go and buy a 10 by 10 shed at Lowe's, put it there and say,
No,
you
it still
guys
have
said there's
to
no,
pass the other codes,
okay.
all the building codes and the
Mhm.
general code and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So. But
So even if you say no minimum square footage, there is one.
there is one.
There is a general minimum.
Yeah, I just don't want to make more work for
You're
somebody
just not
having to
saying
find
it's
it and
720
stuff,
square
yeah.
feet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it would be covered by whatever the state requirements are.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
I'm all
but
for affordable housing. Let's go for it.
Yeah. Do they want to focus this in the form-based code area or anywhere in the town?
This
Just anywhere.
this wasn't anywhere.
Yeah.
It really was pushed to try and make homes more affordable.
Yes.
That was the driving force behind it, was to make it so somebody can have their
Yeah.
first home, or maybe they have an elder relative and or something, and they help them build a home. But,
Mhm.
so but,
No, I think the times were in warrant that sort of thing.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I will let them know that we support the 720 square foot, but we also support no minimum
No
square
minimum.
footage.
Yep.
And
Sounds good.
we
Sounds
like
good
the
to me.
idea of the environmental, it's friendlier environmentally, it's friendlier for affordable housing.
Mhm.
As long
Yeah.
as it doesn't mean they build a larger driveway and other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing with, yeah.
They put in 6 tennis courts.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
all right.
Good.
And I will let them know that. And I know it's getting late, so the only other thing that I really had to cover tonight, unless anybody else has something they want to talk about, was the vote for Jim Berger, bringing him on as a member. The other two people, Brian was their last name, I believe. They withdrew their interest. So
Oh,
uh,
the husband and wife
the
that
husband
came
and
to see
wife,
us?
yep.
Mhm.
But Jim is still very interested in being ECB member.
That's good.
And I had him send me a little information, which is on the screen now, about so he brings landscaping type skills to us. So that's great.
Yeah.
We talk about that stuff a
We
lot.
do. Yes, that's good.
We
That's
won't
good.
have to break him in. He already knows
Yeah.
things.
As long as,
Yeah.
as long as he's an advocate for natives.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not more burning bush everywhere.
Oh, boy.
Despite how pretty it is right now.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion to accept Jim Berger as a new ECB member.
Yep. I'll second.
Good.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye. Perfect.
Okay.
Yay.
Did anyone have anything else that they'd like to cover today? Or did you want to just end and go have supper?
I apologize if you heard the screaming children in the background.
I didn't hear any screaming children.
Okay.
Good job, good job there, Justin.
That's
Yes.
a frequent muting.
That's right.
And thank you for the article, Edith, and
Yes.
the display case.
Yes, you're welcome.
So I'll happily take, if anybody has any ideas for newsletter, just send them my way.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, I do have an idea, but I'm trying to think of how to do it tactfully, so. I have,
Oh, that sounds mysterious.
no, I have a neighbor who built a barn.
I can picture that barn.
Yes,
I know what it
now-
looks like.
now he has decided that it is in danger from this very healthy hickory tree that he
Oh.
placed it under, so he's going to cut down the hickory tree,
Oh,
which would be good for probably another 80 years at
Yes.
least. If obviously he didn't think about where he was putting the barn. You know, if
so
you could
is
think
that
about
what
the
your article
trees
would be
first,
about?
think about the trees first. He
Yeah,
has
think about the trees first.
he
I think
has
that'd be a good
he
article.
has 7 or 8 acres that he could
Mhm.
put this thing on. So he put
it's
it
right
under the
next to you.
tree, and now he's going to hire somebody to cut the tree down.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just wring your hands, you know. The
Yup.
tree was there first.
No.
So
I-
there ought to be something about, you know, planning your site, assessing.
That's a good
What's
idea
there?
for an article.
Yeah,
And,
take a
and
look
appreciating
there.
what you already have there too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
He had 7.5 acres at least where he could have put that barn other way, you know, someplace else, but he put it under the tree.
I want to know the
Uh,
backstory of what that tree did to him so many years ago.
Well,
Then he
the
put the barn
tree,
there to make an excuse to cut it down.
yes, I have, you know, why would you do that? It's just, I was, but anyway, I'm thinking about how to approach this tactfully and say, you know, assess your site before
Yeah.
you put up something, you know.
I have to agree with you. I've wanted for a long time, and I've kicked the idea around, but I don't know how to write it tactfully. Is people come to us and they will say it was garbage trees, junk trees. And they talk about shrubs and brushes, as they call it brush, you know.
Yeah.
And it just is like meant to be cut down. And I was like, well, no, there's value in that stuff too. Maybe not
Absolutely.
buckthorn and stuff. but-
Yeah, well, that means that you have to do some intelligent surveying of your
Yeah.
site, what's there.
Yep.
You've got a 60-year-old shagbark hickory that is perfectly healthy and sound.
I think
The
I have a
best tasting
relative
nuts you
of
can
that
get.
one. It's right on the corner of my property, meeting up with like ag land, and
Uh-huh.
I collected some acorns, or not acorns, but nuts last year because it had a mast year.
Mhm.
And after I got done doing the float test with them, I think I got about 100% sprout. So
Yes,
no.
wow.
so next year, if in the spring, if anybody wants any like baby shagbark hickories, let me know.
Oh, all right.
Mine are where I'm cutting buckthorn. They're coming up like gangbusters.
Oh,
But
perfect.
I planted a bunch of acorns today.
Excellent.
Oh,
Yes, that's what every 80-year-old person needs to do is plant acorns, of course.
Are you trying to get more deer in the yard, or?
I am trying to get more oak trees in my woods. I've got a few. I have protected the sprouts with the wire cages, you know.
Oh, okay.
well,
Yeah.
Edith, if you live to 100, you'll see something.
I might, yes.
Yeah, 20 years, you should be able to see some decent trees by then.
Well, I would think so. At least somebody will if they don't put a barn
At
under
least in
them and cut
10
them down.
years, at least that.
Yeah, okay, well, that's all.
So I think we were on the same page. I'm like, I don't know how to like tell people. It's like, stop calling it garbage.
Yes. Yes, learn what is there first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what it's
yes.
for. I had an
What
uncle
it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
cut a
what
bunch of
it's
gray
used for.
dogwood just to plant clover for deer. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that's a good food source for deer, so I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, I know. It just drives you crazy, doesn't it?
Well, that's why I spent a little time on that Cooley Road. I'm like, I'll write up some info.
Yeah.
They can have it, and maybe they'll appreciate it a little more. Maybe not, but
You can always hope. You have to try.
I can hope.
You
Mhm.
have to plant acorns when you're 80, you know. It's-
It sounds like the title of a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to still be doing that when I'm 80.
Yes. Oh, very good.
Well, thank you, everyone,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
hopefully next month will be a lot shorter. Mike has said it's not so long.
Okay,
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Good.
okay.
So I just need a motion to adjourn
I'll
So
make a
moved.
motion.
and a second.
Second,
Okay.
second.
All right.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Bye,
Perfect.
guys.
Have a good evening.
Have
Have
a
a
great
good
Bye, guys.
evening all.
Bye.
Good to see
Thank you.
you.
Good to see you
Have a
all.
good one.